late here. We have this very special class. We're going to be talking about autism. So I've been doing research on it, and we have some amazing news about this, about autism and how we be able to help people. And that's the hope. And that's my prayer, that this will help many people, since there is so many people suffering of autism, and these are young kids and they're adults. And I thought, because of the so many people are suffering, 1 in 32, 1 in 31, the latest statistics were showing. So we were thinking that this is very important to address and to actually start helping people and see how we can improve the program till we see some results. But by the grace of God, we're hoping that this is going to be a program that it'll be a blessing to many people. So I'm going to start with a word of prayer, but then I'm going to show also, let me bring the PowerPoint. And okay, so we're going to start. Okay, let me start from the beginning. Okay, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for allowing us this opportunity. And this is a very difficult topic. It is, so many people are suffering. And so I just want to ask you that this will be a blessing. It will be only the beginning of many blessings. This is just a preliminary work that we're trying to do. And we ask you that you bless it and that you lead. It seems that the way it's going, things are going to get worse unless something is changed, something, and I don't know, it's only you that can guide us and do this important work. So I just want to ask you to please bless us in Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so the reason we're doing exploring autism is because, lately we heard in the news the prevalence of autism. So I'm thinking, what is the incidence of autoimmune disorders? Anybody? Because it's very similar. So, because autoimmune disorders, that's what we do pretty much, help people with autoimmune disorders. And we had, by thanks God, very good results. And, if we see in autoimmune disease, 5 to 10% of people are dealing with autoimmune disorders. And or actually autoimmune disorders are a little more prevalent than autism, because autism is 1 in 31, and this is, so it'll be a little more than the 10%, right? Okay, somebody can tell me the percentage. Okay, so here it is. 1 in 31, or is 3.2. Okay, so autoimmune is higher, 5 to 10. Children aged a year has been identified with ASD, that is autism spectrum disorder, according to the estimate from the CDC. And for some reason, it's more prevalent in boys than girls, 3 to 1. And here we have the changes. If we go back to 2000, it was 1 in 50. So every 2 years have been increasing. It was a big increase from 2000 to 2004. And then from 2006, it was just keep adding it keep increasing the amount of children dealing with autism. And then now, after 22 years, is 1 in 31. So what is going to happen if we continue to going, the prevalence will continue to increase. This is a very serious problem. There is so much suffering happening in the lives of these children and adults, and also the family, because the family is very affected, parents and siblings. And so the interesting thing is that when I was start looking more and more into autism, the statistics, and also the studies, that what is showing is very similar to autoimmune disease, because when you're dealing with autism, you're dealing with a lot of oxidative stress, you're dealing with a lot of inflammation, neurological conditions. Also, you have that happening on autoimmune disease. So I was thinking, how about if we treated autism in a similar way than autoimmune disease? Because autoimmune disease in general, people don't improve. Even with medications, people are just surviving. But we know now that with the anti-inflammatory diet that we teach at Med Missionary, countless, I would say many people have recovered from autoimmune disease. And of course, it's not just the diet, it is the other loss of health, it's trusting in God, and it is all that. The big part is the diet, I believe, because that is something that it is a little harder to follow, a very healthy diet. So, and that's what I'm gonna see the correlation, and it's not a correlation, it's like the similarities of autoimmune and autism. And it was just like, wow, this is super amazing. So we will talk about the practical parts later on. So in United States, it's 1 in 31 children affected, but globally is 1 in 100. So United States, the numbers are much higher. And I believe it's because so much toxicity here in our foods and our water supplies, and many things and products that we use. Perhaps there's a correlation with vaccines also. And so all this has a big implication. Okay, so the whole health organization, World Health Organization said that autism also refers to a spectrum disorder constitutes a diverse group of conditions related to the developmental of the brain. So, and this is, it affects autistic population in different ways. Some people are independent, some people are not, some people have severe disabilities, some people are even non-verbal, can be incontinent. So this really is a big work for the families helping this population. So according to this study, I just love this study that I found. Says, well, I see in this study, you guys, if you are dealing with somebody that is suffering from autism, you really want to look into this study. But it says here that it is a heterogeneous neurodevelopmental condition characterized by difficulties with social communication and interactions and restrictive or repetitive patterns of behaviors and interests. So it is a neurological condition, somehow affects in a deep way, in some depend to in some people and less in other people. So this came up in 2024, and a lot of the studies I'm going to show is based here, but I also pull other studies. So okay, so this is one thing that I see that's very similar to autoimmune disease. Autism is also, there's a link with leaky gut. children with autism suffer with a lot of digestive issues. And I was just listening to this scientist that they could have a heartburning, pain when they eat. They can have bloating. And so that makes things harder because they don't want to eat. Some of them do not want to eat. That's besides of the neurological brain issues that makes kids having other issues when they're eating, which we will talk about it. Okay, so this is, here we see the link of leaky gut. Here's another study that's showing the leaky gut could be a trigger for the development of autism via activation of the lipopolysaccharide. So what is that? So the gram-negative bacteria are, they have a layer, external layer that's called polyliposaccharide. And that layer can dislodge from the bacteria, the gram-negative bacteria, and that layer can cross the brain barrier. So I was seeing studies, and I learned about this from autoimmune, but then I found this also something related to autism. And what happened, it crosses the brain barrier and causes neurological symptoms, and it's linked, the negative bacteria is linked to eating, many times it's because eating meat products. So that's what they found, and this is gonna trigger leaky gut. Another study show here that demonstrate that casein-rich diet or gluten-rich diet exacerbate leaky gut. So then we see here again the component of leaky gut. And they find out because they saw the sonulin, which is the protein that raises when leaky gut is very active. And so they saw that because that is increased. And that is when the leaky gut is very active, or leaky gut is increased permeability. So when you're dealing with this, you're going to have a lot of symptoms of digestive symptoms. It's just exactly like leaky gut. There is also a genetic component. Later on, perhaps we're going to do more studies about the link of leaky gut and autism and the link of all these components, more studies. But today, I just want to focus a little more in the practical part. And another component is a genetic, just like an autoimmune disease. But there is, you can turn off genes, right? Turn off, turn on, and there's something that probably is turning on this gene, because there is a genetic component. Same thing as with autoimmune. With autoimmune disease, we do have the genetic component. I do have the genetic component, but I'm in remission because, I eat a very anti-inflammatory diet. I do my exercise, and I do, for the most part, I do follow my laws of health. I like to, I've been sleeping earlier now and getting up early and running. Today I went to run. I was working in the garden hard and taking deep breathing exercises and, try to follow all the laws of health. I do my devotional, try to trust in God with my life. And that includes the, trusting God, that includes a relationship with God. That is one of the laws of health. Okay, so that is a genetic component, but, as I said, we can supersede this as in autoimmune disease. Then we have the other huge component, which is microbiome. And this is the case also with autoimmune disease. And I found many studies of microbiome in autism. And I want to focus a little more on this because there is more and more research showing the link, the autism, ASD population, really the composition microbiome is so different than the people that do not suffer from autism. And this is the case also from autoimmune disease. The only difference might be is a different type of bacteria, perhaps, There is a specific for different conditions, but in general, some are, even the bacteria that are affected are similar. For example, well, I'm gonna read this study, although, okay, studies found that children with ASD have different microbiome composition than those without SSD. Lower prevalence of bifidobacterium. This is the same problem that happens with the autoimmune. The bifidobacteria are lower because bifidobacteria is a good bacteria. It's a beneficial bacteria. And so these are very, close similarities. And then we have the pathogenic bacteria, which is Clostridium, is increased. So we can see that it is a big difference between somebody that has ASD and not. Okay, this study is showing that mothers that have had a cesarean section have a higher risk of ASD. So I was also listening to this scientist from, I think it was San Diego. No, it was Canada. He was saying that even the C-sections, if they had the total anesthesia, then there's more link to ASD than the people that have the epidural. So there is even difference in the two groups. Sorry, my husband is texting me. We're gonna have a program on Monday, and we have today the big shopping, and he's doing the shopping. Okay, so that makes a big difference if it's just a vaginal deliverance or cesarean deliverance, or if it's, from epidural or the total anesthesia. So when they did that, they noticed that same thing. The bifidobacteria is lower and the Clostridium bacteria is higher. So that is, again, the microbiome difference. Okay, so I found this other study. Many neuropsychiatric disorders such as anxiety, depression, autism, and cognitive behaviors associated with gut dysbiosis. That's another. Dysbiosis is when people have more pathogenic bacteria than beneficial bacteria. So that's what they see. And then when they have dysbiosis, the GABA, which is very important for the brain, is decreased the production. And also the short-chain fatty acids, causing neurological issues. Okay, so here's another study that shows dysbiosis linked to autism. Let me see. So what happened? It changes the way the brain functions. So here's just explaining a little more how this happens. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next one. And this is something that I'm so amazed because I never seen these studies before. And this was published just recently, 2024, July. Because, for autoimmune, because we know with autoimmune, the microbiome is super imbalanced. And I was helping a mother and a child, and, I was just kind of guiding them through it because, I'm not a pediatrician or anything like that. But I do a lot of research, and I done research for many years for autoimmune. So I'm very familiar with microbiome and what the microbiome does in regard of improving the health speedily or not, or if it's helping or not, things like that. And so this mother, the son was incredibly super sick. And it wasn't a baby, it was a little bit bigger boy. And so the mother, well, I'll tell you in a minute, but it says here, mothers or milk. So what they did with this kid is this. Okay, because the mother had a C-section, and it can be, this is not the case for every mom that had autistic kids. This is prevalent. But for this mother, what they did is they blended, I imagine they mixed the maternal milk with the fecal material of the mother and then they mix it up and they did a fecal transplant. So they call it fecal transplant. And meaning that they put it, it's kind of like putting an enema. It's different kinds of doing the fecal transplant. But at the beginning, it was just an enema. Then it's different ways. But it is through the rectum. And then it helped. And this study helped restore the microbes lost during delivery. You know, and when we're helping this lady, the friend of mine, one thing that we did was, or she did was, did an enema from small amounts of maternal milk. And that really created a humongous change in the health of this boy. But the thing is this too, that whatever the mother is eating, it needs to be just the right foods to create all these, you know, good bacteria in order to create this good change in the microbiota of the person, you know, that might be having serious issues with microbiome. So I'm just saying, this is powerful. I would never say that do fecal transplant with feces of anybody. I don't believe this is the right thing to do, even though they're doing you know, scientists are doing, especially for CDF, and it works temporarily. And I heard many cases, I heard not many cases, I just heard people saying that they were better for some time. Because, you know, if we're going to continue having the same type of lifestyle, it's going to go back into going to start having issues again. Same thing with some studies show that they did antibiotics because it is the pathogenic bacteria that's causing this, right? And so when they try antibiotics, it helped for some kids, cannot reverse it. And I'm thinking, of course, it's going to work because it's killing the bad bacteria that it has this link to cause this inflammation, but it comes back again. So they say, yeah, it lasted for a time, and then they go back to the same behavior. So, but I'm thinking, you know, what we need to change is the microbiome in a different way, in a healthy way. And so we will talk about it later on when we talk about the practical part. But I thought this was, wow, this is good. I didn't like the part that they say the fecal transplant, but the maternal milk, I thought that was very clever because, you know, the maternal milk has some variety, a lot of different type of species of bacteria, which is so healthy for the child to have, you know, either way, drinking or through enema. So here, human milk oligosaccharides fed infant gut microbes, particularly bifidobacteria. Okay, so this is a bacteria that we want children to have and adults to have because bifidobacteria is a super great bacteria to have in abundance. Okay, another aspect of autism is they said that moms that are obese, they have a higher incidence of having autistic kids. So that would be one way to prevent, you know, take care of the obesity problem before having kids, perhaps. You know, by the way, this Saturday, on our podcast on Med Missionary here. We're going to talk about a little bit about obesity, and there is a friend that will open up lifestyle program for obese people. So I think this is going to be a great blessing. And so I'm very happy about that because, people can go there to get treated and then also continue follow up the good lifestyle. Okay, another problem they see is when the mothers are very low, they're low in folic acid, and especially in the first month, I think, or the first 3 months of gestation, they have more risk for autism. And I just throw it in here. What are the good sources of autism? Because they said, they want to give you vitamins and things like that. And also, I think it's a very good idea to eat good sources. And I found there's broccoli, Brussels sprouts, leafy greens, kale, cabbage, spring greens, and spinach. Peas are very high sources of folic acid. So for the moms that are pregnant, I think it's very, very, very important to eat very healthy when you are pregnant to prevent autism. I found this that I thought was very good. It was an study that was published 2024. And these are the aspects that we had to take care. Okay, we said the mother folic acid, right? And the, eating all these greens when you're pregnant. And I think we should eat all our lives very healthy. Today, I eat pesto with a variety of greens every day because I want to keep my bifidobacteria, my folic acid, whatever it is, in good levels. So that's one thing that need to have in natural folic acid supplementation. With I prefer juices and foods, sources from foods if we eat very healthy. Another thing is the maternal and child immune system health. So that's also balancing the bacteria, taking care of the leaky gut. So that will take care of that. Eating healthy, of course, anti-inflammatory diet. Then we have to also remove the triggers. And we're going to talk a little bit about the triggers also. And here says the child microbiome, which we talk about it. That is super, super important. And then we have maternal diet and breast feeding and maternal microbiome, which we did a little bit on the transplant that they did. I just want to touch a little bit. Dr. Derek McFave, he found out that propionate acid is found in some pathogenic bacteria. I think he said exactly what bacteria, but Klebsiella difficile bacteria. So he found out that these bacteria and some other bad bacteria, and also like a simple carbohydrates, like processed carbohydrates, all the unhealthy like sugars, things like that, they produce also propionate acid. So they did a study that they injected propionate acid into these rats, and guess what? They got all the autistic symptoms, social behavior, things like that. So they were so amazed that was happening. And then when they could reverse it also with the microbiome, doing transplants of the good microbiome and reverse it. Can you believe that? So I say, wow. So we can really, if we do make this change and need to change it through foods and through perhaps enemas, healthy enemas, nothing that we're not supposed to do it. Because, the fecal transplant is in autistic kids is forbidden, it's not accepted at this time. So, and I would not recommend that. I don't think it's a good thing to do when you can do it in other ways. And so I thought that was super amazing. So just remember propionate acid that is produced by the Klebsiella difficile and also by unhealthy foods like sugar foods, things like that. And so if we take care of this, like changing this, I'm hoping that we can see amazing results, because when they did that, I think there was some study that when they changed the bacteria, it changed the behavior. But since they don't keep up with it, it reverses again. So what we want to know is something that is lasting. Okay, autism risk. Those are the environmental contaminants. So what, like packing metals, there's metals in the food, pesticides in the food, also the persistent and persistent organic compounds. And, I think those are some contaminants. I don't know exactly which one they are, but there's other studies that show exactly certain metals that we're going to show you. So this is a study showing specifically autism spectrum disorder in the link of contaminants. Here is showing exactly mercury. There is a link. See, several toxic metals are implicated in the etiology of ASD. That's mercury, lead, zinc, copper. So we have to be sure that, some, for example, fish are contaminated with mercury, or perhaps some algae from the oceans. I don't know if there's cleaner areas in the ocean that we can eat those foods, but I will totally eliminate the fish, for example. Then lead is the sometimes, I think Dr. Joy said one time that the lead is in the painting in the crock pots. She read some article, so I will be, careful. We can use maybe these stainless steel pots and whatever you can use that doesn't have anything that's painted that we cooking on it. Zinc also, toxic level of zinc, and copper. So it'd be a good idea to perhaps as a doctor maybe to check the levels of these and be careful, or just remove foods that are so high on these components, which we have to double check. There is more and more contamination of foods now, so we have to be careful with that. Oh, here's another studies that show the antimony, arsenic, cadmium, lead, manganese, mercury, nickel, silver, thallium. I think we had to do our best. We can just go crazy, like, oh, everything is so high and everything is that. I think, we had to just do our best, buy our foods from good sources, hopefully organic foods that are not contaminated with, pesticides, and, we had to do our best, and some stuff might be still contaminated, but, I believe if we do our best, God is going to bless it. Okay, so when they did a study about these components, they found it in the blood, in the plasma, in the red cells, in the hair, in the urine. So, so these are the links that we have to be mindful. Now, I just found this other study also that shows that organophosphates during pregnancy increase 60% the risk of ASD. That's very high. And especially in the third trimester of pregnancy. So we had to find out which one are those chlorophytes in the second semester. So, make a note of this and check it out. I think I have it in the next one. I had a list of what are those, but you check it out. Nowadays are so easy to just check and find out what are the organophosphates, what are the chlorophos, and all the other one is showing here. Sorry. I clicked the wrong thing. I think that was the study. Let me find where is my, sorry. I have to find the email again, open up. Okay, I have it here. Okay, I hope you can see it. If you can see it, give me thumbs up, whoever's here in Zoom. Okay, so then we have, let me go to the next one. This one was a study that showed that it was, the BPA was a concern, association between phthalates and ASD, and also BPA. So I think I have it in the next one. Okay, what are the, okay, you check it out. I'm not gonna go much through that because we're running out of time and haven't talked about the practical thing that I wanted to talk. So I'm gonna move quickly. Okay, this is another study showing the lead, mercury, aluminum, and arsenic linked to ASD. And here's we have phthalates. So phthalates are in plastic. Okay, that's what I want to show you, the plastic. And they're for food packaging, cosmetics, personal care items. Can you believe they put phthalates in all those things that we use? That's why we have to be very careful what we put in our skin also. Autism in this studies is linked to arsenic. When we sprout our foods, you decrease the amount of arsenic and hopefully all the other problematic components. I found this study that glyphosate linked to autism and microbiome. Of course, it's gonna destroy good and bad, and then we're gonna be linking to leaky gut, and it's gonna cause a very serious issue with our microbiome. Okay, some nutrients that are decreased are vitamin A, B6, B12, C, and D. So we have to be sure that all these levels are okay. And this is usually because people have problems eating, people with autism, and they usually eat very few selected foods. So they're missing all kinds of nutrients. Also here it says low in calcium, iron, zinc, magnesium, and fatty acids. So this is a very serious nutritional deficiency. Okay, they found some herbs are good, that are helpful. And so that they help the neurotransmitters to work better, protects your brain, things like that, which is good. But I think what we have to change is the diet. The diet is really, really important. Okay, this is a problem with kids. They have issues with consistency, texture, and consistency. It has to be the same way they eat every time. They have problems with tasting the taste of the food or the smell of the food, and the brand is just very, very also the color. And so we had to be very mindful of this. So we had to, I'm thinking that we need to create foods that are gonna be okay for them to eat, that it will be acceptable for them. And so these are the challenges that we have with autism kids: the texture, the taste, the food presentation, olfactory sensitivity, the temperature. Usually this is more prevalent, 5 times more prevalent with children with autism. So we believe that it should be family intervention. The family needs to be team up and, change the health habits also, so it won't be so difficult for these kids. So they won't feel that they're different. And so the plan of action, according to all we went through, is addressing the leaky gut, addressing microbiome, removing inflammatory foods, addressing environmental issues like the ones that we mentioned, trying to find clean foods, addressing the food challenges, which is the texture. How do we create foods that will be acceptable for them, at least at the initial stage? Because I feel that when the brain start decreasing inflammation, and so it's going to function better in a way that it won't be as challenging them initially. Also creating groups, support groups, family support. Actually, that is what we're working on it. But addressing the leaky gut, we have to find out what foods they're having intolerances. Because usually, as the studies show, one was gluten, one was casein. So casein is in milks and milk products. So usually this causes severe issues in a lot of autistic people of the digestive issues. So those foods, foods that they cannot tolerate, it's okay to remove it, even as healthy as they might seem. Removing allergenic foods, testing will be great to do. It's just like autoimmune. People test themselves. Okay, what foods they're allergic to that they don't even know, or what foods they're not supposed to eat because they're so sensitive to. So testing for this will be great and remove all those foods. And of course, remove inflammatory foods, which inflammatory foods are going to be processed foods and are going to be, anything that has chemicals. It's not going to be healthy at all. So we, as we saw, chemicals are one of the links of ASD. So we want to remove that. Then we have addressing the microbiome. So the best way to address the microbiome, according to the studies that we done for autoimmune disease, whole plant-based diet. So the fiber is what feeds the good bacteria. The fiber. So we want to do foods that are, hopefully 100% fibers, like whole plant-based. And then we want it to be balanced. So because we see all these nutrients that are lacking in this population, it has to be variety, because the different foods feed different species of bacteria. So we want to be all kind of different foods every day. What we have in our program that we train medmissionary.com program, we have one menu with 4 days. So day 1, 2, 3, 4 are different. So we rotate them, and then we start again with day 1. And so there is a variety of foods, but we have to create something that this population will like, and the texture that they like and things like that. But because they're used to just, some people eat like 2, 3 foods and that's all they eat. So it's affecting seriously the microbiome. Then we have here also perhaps maternal milk. There is a banks of maternal milk. The only problem is that, the people that are doing, the donating these maternal milks to the banks probably might not be healthy. The mothers might not be eating healthy. So it will be great to see, perhaps people that are in this group and our groups to donate maternal milk, people that follow an anti-inflammatory diet. That'll be really great. Okay, so addressing the environmental toxicity, good sources of cooking tools. Also remove plastic from the kitchen, especially when you are preserving foods or saving foods that are liquid in a plastic. So we want to avoid that. We want to use glass to something that is liquid. Also, we want to find organic sources of food. We don't want to do herbicides, pesticides. All that is a big link to not just autism, but autoimmune, other autoimmune disorders, including autoimmune disorders. Also, of course, we're gonna remove chemicals that we put on our skin, things like that. Another thing, and this is what I wanna talk mostly, and we only have 7 minutes. We had to create foods, and for I run a lifestyle center, and we had to create foods of all kinds, different types, because people suffer of different type of food sensitivities and food intolerances, just like autism. And we had to create all different types of breads and crackers and everything that we do. We try to, sometimes we have programs and we had to do maybe 3 or 4 types of food, the same food, but in different way. So that's why we got familiar doing this. So I'm thinking if we do crackers, because it seems that they like crackers, something crunchy. Do crackers that have salad in it and legumes. And right now we have crackers that we do with lentils, black beans and white beans and split peas, and what else? Yeah, those, and we do flaxseed and coconut. They're super great, amazingly nutritious crackers. But I'm thinking we should add this salad component, because some kids with autism do not like salads at all. So we had to put it in somehow, into these crackers that make it taste good. They just don't like also smells. And with the crackers are dry, so they don't have this big smell. And it's crunchy. And I'm thinking that we need to do things like that, adding it. So this time, I have a program. I'm going to start working on that so we can have this available for a group of kids that we would like to help. Also, some autistic kids, they don't like anything mushy, or the vegetables cook. So they rather to have some of them raw salads, and or maybe slightly steamed, but not overcooked. So we had to be, if some kids or adults can eat this way, that'll be super great. If not, we had to kind of create a system for them to be feeding with different type of nutrients that are going to feed different type of bacteria, and they're going to bring the nutrients needed. Also, I was thinking that we should have super groups in churches. This will be a very good thing for churches to help the communities. I just, my friend, Dr. Bill Sweat, he sent me a text, because this is something we're trying to do. We have a team of, researchers that we've been working on trying to, write cases and put in the medical literature. And we're still working on that, but I want to focus into right now, focus on autism, to do studies on it, applying this anti-inflammatory diet. And so I'm thinking, so I talked to our medical director, which is Dr. Juan Carlos. He's in Loma Linda. And then with, of course, Dr. Joyce was the initial idea came from Dr. Joyce. And then we have our GI doctor, which is Dr. Bill Sweat. So I was talking to them, and he told me, Dr. Sweat told me, well, Granite Bay has autistic, a support group for children with needs, and including autistic kids. So I contacted a friend there. So we're trying to see if we can connect with the church, Granite Bay Church, to create a support system in feeding them, actually, our foods, feeding them, because we need a place where it's close to where we are, and create these foods, because this is a pilot program, just a preliminary program to see how this will work. But we will have to work making these foods and bringing to them, packaging because it seems that packaging is important for them. They have to open it up, and then, you know, all this is very important. And then, you know, working with the parents, having them fill up some documents of the progress of these people. Actually, Dr. Joyce sent me a list of things that we should be following up in this for this group that's going to be piloting this diet and lifestyle. So that is very important, you know. And Dr. Bill Sweat actually told me, well, we have to create foods. Of course, and so that's gave me the idea. Okay, I have my assistant from my lifestyle center. She's familiar with the food creation. So I'm thinking that maybe she can make the foods and then bring it to this group of people, which is in Sacramento, California area. And so start working with the first group as soon as we can. And then, depending on the results and depending how we start learning how to create these super groups in churches, we can start helping other churches to create this system. So, you know, many people can help these serious conditions. So I'm just very excited that to be a part of this. And of course, we probably gonna need also, I don't know how we're gonna do this, but we need probably do something, I don't know what I call it, but we need some type of donations from people to pay the person that's gonna be preparing the foods. We all volunteering for this job, all these doctors teams, we all volunteering, but the person is gonna be cooking, preparing, and buying the supplies. We will need some money to do that. So, you know, if anybody like to donate, let us know. And but we will like to help more people. So after starting with this pilot group, we would like to create another program for autistic kids, and we'll see. Probably it'll be in Med Missionary in our membership, another, you know, another program there to help with these issues that's happening. And since, you know, things are so similar to autoimmune, you know, we should be able to pull up something like that. So I'm so excited about this. And I'm gonna take maybe 2 minutes just to answer questions. So I'm going to stop here and let me see. Somebody saying kale chips, good idea. Kale chips, yeah, something that has crunchy texture. Nutritional pesto, somebody said yeah, the only thing that autistic kids don't like is slimy things and wet things, something like that. So we will have to make crackers out of nutritional pesto, adding some other components. I don't think that will be a problem. So if there is another question, I'm gonna go to our YouTube channel, Med Missionary. Let's see if we have any questions. If there is another question, I'm gonna go to. Okay, let's see. We have here difference in my son with Tourette with plant-based diet, detoxifying green like cilantro. Yeah, cilantro will be great to detoxify. We can put it into crackers perhaps. Yeah, chlorophyll. Yeah, to detoxify is very great. Thank you. Detox. Another person saying, I'm currently in a school for music therapy for autism. Is a population we work with. Yeah, all those issues are important too. In addition to, I think the basics will be the lifestyle, including the diet, which is a big one. Food journaling is a good key to know what good will be tolerable. Okay, good. I like that, food journaling. I'll be one thing that can be done. Okay. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining, and we will continue working, helping this population, and anybody that would like to create super groups in their churches, please let us know. We be happy to help with whatever we can, with whatever programs we are doing. Okay, send an email to info@medmissionary.com. Info@medmissionary.com. Okay, God bless you. See you next time. Before I go, we have a program. We like people to get familiar with what we do, addressing all these issues. And we have a program that's it's going to come up on June 22nd. We do these programs throughout the year, and the next program is going to be June 22nd. So you can register for our next program for med missionary training. Many people have been, have recovered their health with very difficult conditions, many of them. So I hope to see you there if you have not taken our course. God bless you. Take care.